Cool. What's up, guys? So this is our final boot camp for this one. I'm kind of sad about that. You know what I mean? We're up at 6 a.m. on Saturday, and we've created a lot of energy behind this. To be honest with you, how many people were planning on getting on have honestly stuck it out. Most of us have still stayed on, which is really kind of cool. And these are the intimate groups, as we kind of branched off into our own individual groups outside of Jamil's team and moving forward and building our teams ourselves. It's kind of fun to see that cadence of how everybody's getting on at a 6 a.m. call instead of even 7 on a Saturday and being committed to that. We got Karen up in Northern California fighting fires, and she's still on. I love the fact that we're all on here together. We're all committed to our commitments, and that's a cool thing. So today we're going to we got truck drivers in the house. Drive safe, brother. Eyes on the road. I think it's Ann Rob. Thank you, Desiree. You're right. I'm sorry. Karen and Rob. Apologize. You guys are both on. But no, I'm just excited about these boot camps because this is where the magic happened. If I could think back, literally speaking transparently, to one of my first trainings, Jamil actually had to get on. We had a call in. It was a digital line, a call in line where you got in and people would call into this line, and it was even actually how he did my startup with 4 other clients at the same time. Like we all did the night before startup call because he had so many going at the time. But I had to get on and nobody got on. There was nobody on the call. And I texted Jamil and said, hey, nobody's getting on. And the only way you could record the training is you had to have at least one more person on, is that's how it allows you. So he got on and he said, just ask questions. Ask questions like there's people on there, talk like there's people on there. It was great practice, right? And then, the Wednesday breakfast came, and then that happens, and then now we're here. And it always starts small, and then it grows big. So over the next few years, I'm excited to see who all you guys bring on and how this boot camp particularly grows. And then you guys will go off and do your own boot camps. So, but anyways, we're going to kind of do some takeaways for today. I really honestly want you guys to be interactive. So maybe 1 or 2 takeaways you guys learned this past boot camp, what that looks like. We're going to talk a little bit about this up and coming summit, the importance of events. Joy's going to touch on what part of an amazing time of the year this is. And then Desiree is going to talk a little bit about cadence as a coach and what that looks like. Donald's just going to talk and bring probably the most energy we have this morning at 6 a.m. anyways. But anyway, so I'm Justin Avini. Once again, I know you guys probably already know me, but I'll just say that for the recording, looking back. But I think one of my biggest takeaways is really understanding the simplicity of this. Being in this even for 6.5 years, February coming up, which is like right around the corner, 4 months away, it will mark 7 years I've been doing this. Kind of crazy, huh? Especially when people talk about this is a thing that's going to go away, right? Dr. A's been doing it for 18 years. I've been doing it for 7. Jamil's been doing it for 8. Karen's been doing it for 9. Kim Fisk's been doing it for 12. But I think one of the biggest things for me is the simplicity of this and being consistent. Joy's going to talk a little bit about this time of year and what that looks like, but I really got back down to the basics. I got back down to what I did at the very beginning. As a leader, or striving to be a leader, I should say, you get into management mode of your team and your business and try to help people and move. And there is that. But then there's also the IPAs. And I don't know if some of you guys remember, we used to say that all the time, income producing activities, right? So I'm in a place where that's my time now. I'm back into that season for me personally. But even just posting a lot of messages, engaging with people personally, getting out and about now that the kids are kind of in control of being at the house and a little bit old enough to not put Jenny in a panic mode. I'm able to get out and kind of get back to my roots of what this was. So the simplicity of this, chatting with people, creating relationships, conversations, using things that are fun for you to create those conversations on Facebook. I always talk about this, not going to I'm a health coach now, so I need to be in health coach or personal training groups, but being in groups that make sense for you. Robert's, oh, hey, what up, bro? Look, USC. But being in groups that make sense for you, hobbies that are fun for you, so you have that common ground to chat with people instead of trying to come from some weird place of, health and like, how do I talk to this person about health? And don't talk to them about football, talk to them about getting out. You know what I mean? So I think my biggest takeaway is just a great reminder of consistency and what that looks like. So like I said, please, please, please make sure, feel free to ask, or not ask, but speak today when we ask you guys to kind of share some of your takeaways. If you're not even sure what those are, I'm giving you a heads up. But I'll shoot it over to Joy. Joy's to my right, so I'll just go with Joy, kind of let her take what her takeaways were and share a little bit.
Awesome, awesome. Good morning, everyone. Kudos for being on this call. Yes, 6 a.m. on a Saturday. You know, I think for me, coaching for 2.5 years, I love our community, and this is a little shot in the arm of our community as we build a business together. You know, again, as a few of you know, I'm from the corporate world, so I love structure. And when I would do this every day, to be honest with you, I can't think of a better way of starting my day than not looking at everyone that I'm building an empire with, our business partners. I feed off of everyone. For 2.5 years, I'm still learning. I still get ideas. And so I kudos again to you for being on this call. I feel that these calls really show me mentally that I do have a business. It's not a hobby. And so when I was again in the corporate world and I had a meeting I had to be at, I didn't have a choice. But now I have a choice, and I'm not going to break commitments to myself as being CEO of the company. So again, kudos, because you never know, you're going to hear something that could really change your business. So I think a big takeaway is just community and starting my day with people that have the same vision that I have. That is a beautiful thing to me. Something else I wanted to share was this time of the year. I know for some people it might seem like, oh, it's the holidays. People really don't want to think about weight loss or think about healthier habits. They want to party. They want to have fun. We just, came off of Halloween. But for me, this is the best time of the year, guys. I did the program through Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I'm having a lot of health assessments right now. I think a lot of it is, a lot of people are from a year to 2 years that I spoke to in the past. My consistency of posting, my consistency of talking about the gift. I get private messages every day, or I'll post a before and after, and now people are commenting about speaking with me. So number one, that consistency again is so important. So how I just kind of wanted to posture my conversation because I had one yesterday with a professor, and she does a lot of entertaining, and she was concerned because she's going on for a couple university events. So I share that there's always going to be times that we're entertaining. There's always going to be a holiday. But what's really important about this time of the year is adopting healthier habits. You might not be perfect, but if you already are making those healthier habits, this is the time of the year from now to the end of the year that most people put on 10 to 15 pounds. How great would it be if you're not that person putting that weight on, but you start the beginning of the new decade feeling good and not beating yourself up and already have adopted healthier habits. So I really walk them through what it's like this time of the year of not having to be perfect, but just adopting some healthier habits so you don't end the year heavier. You might just end the year drinking more water. You might end the year going to a party and leaving that party and going, you know what? I made some healthier choices because of the program. Because there's always going to be a party. There's always going to be Mother's Day and Valentine's Day and Easter or Rosh Hashanah. There's always going to be something. So this time of the year from October to December is when I usually bring on the most clients. So I just wanted to share that with you. And you can use, if you did your journey at another time of the year, you can use my journey. You can say, I have coaches that did their journey this time of the year. And this is why it was really exciting for them, because they started the new year feeling good, not up the 10 to 15 pounds. We also have a restaurant guide, right? So we can help them with, if they're going to a restaurant, most events with buffets have a protein and a veggie. A lot of my clients travel, so they get scared. They go, well, I'm traveling through the holidays. Oh, that's wonderful, because now you're not going to run through the airport like I did and go to the little, store and grab a Mounds and chips. That's what I used to do. Now I have my bars. So it's a really good way of really sharing our program through the holidays, that it is really the most exciting time, that they're going to make better choices and start the new year feeling great. So if it's still kind of a time that you're still a little ambivalent about, reach out to your team, shoot me a PM. I'd love to help you with posturing and the verbiage. It is my favorite time, guys. And I've started the month, I was sharing that I've have 3 clients on board. I haven't started 3 clients in the beginning of the month for the last 6 months. It's always near the middle and the end. So when you posture it and they feel that, it's really exciting. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Again, I wanted to give you kudos for being on this call. It's 6 a.m. on a Saturday, but it really shows you, yes, I believe in my business. I have a business. I'm CEO of my business, and I'm going to show up for myself and keep commitments to myself. So I love all you guys, and thank you for letting me speak.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love it. And, I really think that if we start to understand what's possible here, as we kind of go through these next few months, I mean, that's really setting up the cadence. The cadence and the way we talk about our program is really how people respond to us, and I think for layman's terms is like, if we take our business serious, we're going to get serious responses. If we're kind of half foot in, half foot out, we're going to get those half foot in, half foot out responses. And then guess what we do as we're newer coaches, even our mental capacity of growing. I know for me, mine was not necessarily people saying no, but learning Facebook, learning how to use a computer, learning how to learn the back office. Calling Jamil, back then you had to individually do orders. I could have easily quit by being overwhelmed. Well, there's other areas of that. Like for us, if we're half in, half out and people are telling us no, the immediate human nature for us is like, well, this isn't going to work for me. This isn't what I'm doing. But really look at how you show up with this. If you show up to a business and you're like, wow, dude, that guy was real professional. I'm excited to get my car painted here. They do some amazing work. I mean, look at the background of what they got going on. You treat them as a business. But for us, we show up kind of like, oh, yeah, if you really want to try this thing, here's my website, or here's this, or here's that. And then people are like, yeah, this guy, he just wants to get a couple bars. I don't understand why. Like, he doesn't want to do the whole program. Well, how are we showing up? So it's really important. Over these next 2 months is really going to posture into what January and March every year is historically the biggest time of the year. At the end of the day, we are not just a weight loss program, but people are looking for diets in January. People are looking for life-changing goals. And what I mean by life-changing is they are looking for help. They're in pain. They don't know what they're missing, but they're looking to lose some weight and start out with that. And then if we introduce Optavia with some integrity, with some good support behind it, they're really going to understand that it is a life-changing event, and their life's going to change completely upside down. I started in February, right? I blew off Jamil for 7 months. I started in February. A lot of different coaches I know started around this time of the year. It's how we talk to people too. Hey man, me personally, I shared this the other night with a girl at 10:30 at night, and I've been messaging this girl for a while. I shared this on my team call, but she's like, okay, I'm going to Glamis this weekend, a place in the desert, whatever, camping, and I'm going to be back next week. And I said, look, honestly, if you're serious about this as your business mentor starting out, this is a pivotal time to start this business, right? 5-6 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, okay, I'll check back with you in January. That's no problem. If I'm going to do her a favor and I'm going to treat this with like importance, hey girl, I'm going to be honest with you. November, December is the best time for people to see what you're doing, because come January, February is when you're going to really start to pick up clients. And if you want this thing to kick off on the right foot, I would be doing you a disservice by just saying, okay, I'll talk to you in January, right? December is the biggest time of the year too. I don't know how many people call me literally the day of Christmas, after they had their meal, their last supper or whatever, or, the day after, and they're like, okay, I'm ready to go, because it takes 5 business days to get your program, right? So there's pivotal times here. So I'm going to shoot it over to Donald, let Donald rock and roll with some of his energy. But really pay attention to what guys are saying, because over these next few months really sets up to 2020.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. So for me, boot camps were always a time for me to really get focused on my systems and how to build this business, because just like the 5-in-1 plan that we use to get healthy, if you follow it exactly, you have amazing results. And it's the same thing with this business. If you follow the systems exactly and do what's suggested by our mentors, you'll have amazing results when it comes to coaching. You know, it's just like, if you want what I have, then do what I did. Most people are not going to be willing to do what the leaders of this company did in order to build this business. If you look at it, we have, I forget what the number is, maybe 225, 230 people in growing the senior coach. You know, we have 18 people on the call. So this is really important to build this business. And, you know, it's a little disheartening to not have the people on the call, because I know this is what helped me catapult my business, was being on the boot camps and learning these systems. This business is something that you need to do. I like the 3 C's of it. It's constantly, consistently, and confidently. You get confidence by knowing what you're doing, and this is how you learn how to do it, is on these boot camps, and getting the training and watching the leaders of this company and how they build this business. So what does constantly mean? You know, I don't just do Optavia, I am Optavia, and my kids will attest to that, my wife will attest to that. I hardly ever meet anybody, talk to anybody, or interact with anybody without them hearing a little bit about who I am and what I do. It just became part of me, you know, and I love it, and I'm confident about it. And the more times, you know, sometimes we go through ebbs and flows in this business. And so, you know, when I do bring on new clients, I just had somebody lose like 14 pounds in 9 days. He feels like amazing. His wife's starting her journey today. And so it brings back that confidence of what we have, this amazing gift that we have, helping people. And at the end of the day, that's what this thing's all about. So that gives me confidence, again, in the program. You know, and this time of the year, this is when I started my journey too. I think I signed up for a program like on August 25th. I got my kit like, you know, the beginning of September. So I lost all my weight through the holidays too. And I became a coach, where I bought my coaching kit in October because my mom and my wife wanted to do the program. I didn't really become a coach until my plumber came by one day and noticed me, and I signed up him and his wife. They had amazing results. Then I started to realize, like I said, what an amazing gift I had in my hands. And so I just started sharing this with everybody. I started reaching out. I put my Facebook, you know, picture. I put my picture out on Facebook, and, you know, I brought on 25 people in the month of December. And I didn't know, like, nobody said, you know, you don't bring people on in December. It's hard. You know, it's on the holidays. I didn't know any of that. I just did it. And so you can definitely build this business through these holidays. This is an amazing time of the year. And, you know, you're going to get people that are going to want to wait and say, you know, oh, well, you know, January 1st, I'm really going to start. And it's like, I always tell everybody, look, you've got 31 days in December. There's maybe like 4 days, you know, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, where you're going to maybe, you know, or maybe 1 or 2 parties. So like 26 days out of the month, you're going to be focusing on your health. And, you know, 4 or 5 days, you might, you know, eat a little something that maybe isn't on plan, but you're going to thank yourself at the end. And I had a whole bunch of people that lost 10, 15 pounds through the month of December and went into January feeling amazing. So be confident in what it is you have. And then the last C is that consistency. You know, ever since I decided to become a health coach with Optavia, I've been consistently posting, consistently reaching out to people, consistently talking to people about this opportunity. And the important thing is to share the full trilogy. And being on these boot camps and listening to the leaders is how you become confident in sharing the full trilogy. Because I'll be honest, when I started this business, I had a huge weight loss. You know, I lost 77 pounds in 4.5 months. So that's what I talked to everybody about. Oh man, I can help you lose weight. I can help you feel amazing. 53 years old, or at that time, 51 years old, 52 years old. I felt better than I had in my entire life. You know, and I talked about the physical health. And I didn't bring on a coach for 6 months because I wasn't posturing it that way. And then something clicked in one of these boot camps about the importance of sponsoring. And then I consistently brought on 3 or 4 coaches every month for the next 6 or 7 months. And so when you get consistent in everything you do with this, that's how you're going to build this business. Consistency really pays off. You know, I know people are busy. I know people have full-time jobs and they're structuring it. They're trying to do this, you know, part-time on the side. And that's the beauty of it. The beauty of this program is you can build this business part-time on the side while you're doing your other job, while you're doing life. But it takes consistency. You can't go, you know what? Oh, I got a lot of time on Saturday. I'm going to work on this for like 4 hours on Saturday. That's not the way this business is built. It's consistency on a daily basis. So if it's 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night, that's what you need to do. And so those 3 things, being confident in what we have, constantly sharing about the program, and being consistent in this business is what's going to help you build it. And being on these boot camps, being on Dr. A's calls on Monday, listening to the field trainers on Monday nights, listening to the Wednesday night calls. Because, you know, one thing we always have to remember is we're always a client too. You know, focusing on our own health gives us confidence in this journey. If we're not following our own health, it's really hard to share confidently about this program. And so those are the 3 C's. Remember, constantly, confidently, and consistently. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, man, I love it. You get all these nuggets coming from everybody. It's really good. And it's so true, guys. We're going to beat this into our minds today. And hopefully you that are watching the playbacks really understand, like, this time of the year is not, it's our own concepts about holidays and how we approach things. And like Donald said, we have all of November, all of December. Really, how many days out of that time are you thinking about having a glass of wine, right? Maybe 3 to 4 times with dinners and parties coming up, Christmas parties, Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve, whatever. But how many pounds can you be down? Secondly is if we say, oh yeah, I totally understand, we're treating it as a diet, right? This is a lifestyle. They need to learn how to understand and gauge through these things for next year, because the wine's not going away. The cheesecake's not going away, but it's the options and the decisions, the micro habits. It sound like Dr. A, the micro habits that we instill in people that move them forward. So if we posture it in a way of that, then guess what they do when they become a coach? Oh yeah, I got 15 people ready in January, because they saw how we approach this at that time of the year. So I'm really excited. I got, we'll have Desiree come on and kind of rock and roll with some of what she's got to talk about. I know it's really exciting stuff. Des, take it away.
Thank you. And Donald, you just postured what my first takeaway was. So I love how you mentioned that we're all still clients and leading with our own health, because I feel like that is probably the most important area of building a strong, structured business. Because if we're not leading with our own health, it's going to change. It's going to change how we talk about this program. If we're not feeling good about ourselves and we're kind of half in and half out, and sometimes on our program and sometimes not, we're going to sometimes be in our business and sometimes not too. Because if we're not feeling like we're representing this company well enough, we're not going to talk about it. And that means in person too, when we're out and about, and especially through the holidays. So to me, that is probably number one. And not that not that you have to be like some 110-pound person, but just whatever it is to you that is your goal, that makes you the happiest, where you feel good about you and you have that confidence, you're going to do the same exact thing with your business. You're going to show up confident when you have when you're having these health assessments with people. Your excitement is what you're going to be transferring to them, and then they're going to be excited. But if we're not, you guys, that energy, the lack of, they feel that, and then they hesitate because we're hesitating. So we definitely want to lead with our health. It's really, really important too. And it's a responsibility at the end of the day. It's a lot of responsibility. And we have to be willing to take that on because it's going to change the way we speak to our clients and the way we support our clients as well. So just really make sure that we are taking that full responsibility and taking it seriously. And then next, we want to make sure that too, we're definitely making friends with other coaches, because you guys, the conversation's different at the table when you're sitting with them. You know, we're all, on the same frequency, we're all on the same journey. So if we're really utilizing each other to build that energy and keep that energy going. Just for instance, this call right here, how it feels to wake up to a call like this, how it feels to be interacting with people on the same level as us that are, you know, just as misunderstood as us because we're on this same program. And people don't quite know what program means. So, you know, just being able to have people that we're feeding off of is really important for our emotional health too. And the emotional intelligence that comes with, you know, the building of what we're doing here, and you know, just being able to be on that different mindset, because as clients, of course, we're supported by a coach, but don't forget, once we start coaching, we have yet another level of responsibility too. Now we have other people that we're supporting. Now we have other people that you know, we're representing this company for. So we definitely want to make sure that we are you know, we're just making a good, we're showing up. We want to make sure we're showing up for this, because when we're out and about, and even when we're sitting with friends and family at different restaurants, we want to make sure that we are representing and we are Optavia, because if we're not, you guys, they're not going to take us seriously either if we're not taking ourselves seriously, if that kind of makes sense. And then also too, with our clients, we always want to remember that the way that we coach them, we're setting them up as brand new coaches. If they decide to become a coach, if we're not, you know, if we're not supporting them the way we're supposed to, having the night before call, making sure we're sending them the daily messages, having that 1 week celebration, they're not going to do that as a brand new coach either. So super, super important stuff, you guys. I hope that makes sense for you, because we have to consider every client as a coach, and we want to set them up for success.
Awesome, Des. Thanks. So yeah, guys, I think it's really important. You know, we're not saying to be perfect, but I think the biggest thing is remember, there's some things as we become clients, we're supported by our community, we're supported by the Dr. A's Habits of Health system if we choose to. We're supported by our coach, and we're supported by calls and trainings or calls and different healthy happy hours and things like that. And then as you move into to being a coach, we have to start to talk about, well, why did Johns Hopkins University do a study with us? Why are we 5 times more likely to get to our goal and stay there by becoming a coach? Well, we have to adapt those same habits, right? We have to also understand that this training right here, clients don't get. So when we talk about healthy mind and we talk about community on a next level, we really have to understand taking a little bit of accountability with what that looks like. So supporting ourselves, working on our mindset, taking full focus on what this looks like as far as our health. I'm back on 5-1, and I didn't plan on doing that, but Jenny wants to get her baby weight off, and I said I would partner with her and do that, and I got a little fluffy too, just being transparent. But the idea behind it is really, wow, how do you feel now? I'm up at 6 a.m. I got 5 hours of sleep last night, right? I was with the kids all day yesterday doing calls. It was the end of the month 2 days ago, 2 days ago, right? Crazy time of the year, crazy time of the season. End of the month is always crazy, massive calls. But I'm like, man, I wonder how I would approach this last 4 days if I wasn't on 5-1, or if I wasn't at my health. You don't have to be on 5-1, but just be paying attention to what we're eating, what we're doing. And like Desiree said, when we show up to events and you're kind of like, well, we're not trying to act like we're perfect, so we can eat this and we can eat that. That's fine. But being a brand new coach, have you created that branding yet? Right? What are we doing? I showed up to birthday parties and friends are pouring ranch on their food, and I was brand new coach, right? And they're like eating all this fun stuff. I could have totally been like, oh, well, the peer pressure was there. I didn't want them to think I was an alien, so I had a piece of pizza or whatever. But then you feel like crap. And like Desiree's point, how many people are we going to talk to when you feel like crap in general? Even when you're sick. When you're sick, you don't want to talk to people. It's the same level. So really understand that as we move into being a coach, as we move into this area, it's kind of more of an accountability for us to level up, as we like to use, and we'll talk about the summit here in a second. But make sure we're on point with our health. Make sure we're kind of diving in with our health. At this point as a coach, you can utilize your coach, but at the same time, there has to be a little bit more of an accountability, because you're getting a lot more than the average client gets. You're getting boot camps. You're getting one-time mentorship. You're getting different Carol Hips, Jamil Frazier, Karen Elstrom. You're getting self-development classes for free. August Madness, March Madness, April good to great in April, whatever it is, we're working on our mental minds way more, and we're getting thousands of dollars of information for us to just say, well, you know, I'm doing okay, but I need help. Well, we got to step it up a little bit. We're getting a lot more than most clients, right? We're getting a lot more mental support than most clients. We have a community right here, but we have to have that raising our hand, right? That next level of, hey, I need to be more accountable. Snap me out of it. Let's roll, right? And feel good. Feel good, you share good, right? So anyways, getting back to this, I'm going to bring on my boy, David Harrison. He looks like he's going hunting after this, but we're good to go. And we'll rock it here in a few minutes. I'm excited to see some of your guys' takeaways. And please, like I said, I'm reminding you one more time, take a second to think of what one of your good takeaways is, how you're going to move it forward in the next 2 to 5 months, because this is a pivotal time of growth. So Dave, you ready? I got to unmute you, brother. You get it?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks, Justin. Yeah, man. I'm just health hunting over here. You know what I mean? I think that's funny. Some of me and my team, we kind of joke around that we're health interrogators. Just because when we're talking to people, we're really trying to connect and really trying to get, where they're at, trying to fall in love with the place they're at, and then just poke them for a little more. Something you were just talking about, Justin, is that accountability for ourselves and our own health. Des, you brought up some really good points. Man, this comes down to just love. Like, have you guys ever heard the story about fish love? Anybody heard the story about fish love? So there's an old man and a young boy, and he asked the young man or the young boy, why did you eat that fish? And the young boy said, oh, because I love fish. He's like, I love it. I love the way it tastes. I love the way it makes me feel. It's just amazing. And the old man replied to the young boy, if you love that fish, you wouldn't have cooked it, you wouldn't have cleaned it, and you wouldn't have ate it, and you wouldn't have killed it. If you love that fish, you would have nurtured it, right? You would have brought it value. You would have just brought that fish value. And it's the same thing with ourselves and our business, with these trainings, and being on these is we're bringing that love to our business, right? We're bringing that love to ourselves, and it's a different kind of love. It's a value. It's a value we're bringing to ourselves, into our business, so we can bring more value to everyone else. We don't wish for easier situations. We just wish for better skills, right? Right, everybody, raise your hand, blink. Yeah, and that's exactly where we get this is just from loving on, just from listening to all of our mentors, our leaders, from our teams, and even our clients. I love talking to clients and then using their stories on the next call. Like, that's what I'm doing when I'm doing celebration calls or connecting with clients, is I'm getting all that ammo for my next call. Oh, I was just talking to this one client that's doing this and this, and they're feeling this. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm feeling good too. And it all kind of stems from each other. And that's what's really cool with Optavia is you guys, is once we combine this business with things that we really love and things we really have passion for, and those groups of people that we really can connect with, and you start combining Optavia with everything else you love in life, I mean, that's when the magic happens right there. And this all just becomes just easy, right? And then we're just living Optavia. And I think that's one of the coolest things is when you start doing your hobbies and going to these things, like Justin was saying, have you created that brand for yourself? Are you making those healthy choices? So like, if you're going to these, these situations and these groups of friends, like, I mean, that's awesome if they're coming along, right? I mean, they're coming along. It may take a little while. I still have some friends that are struggling, but I have some that came. It took them 2, 3, 4 years. Even myself, Justin, I took a little bit too, but I'm here, right? We showed up. But it's the coolest thing, guys. Weeds can grow anywhere, right? They can grow on the sidewalk, they can grow out of a wall, they can grow out of a rubber tire. But what if we want something great? What if we want orchids? What if we want tulips? Then there's a system that you have to follow, and there's certain ways that plant needs to grow. It needs to be watered different, it needs to be treated different, it needs to have a different environment. And that's just like us, you guys. That's just like us, and that's just like our business, and being present in exactly what we want. Right? The event and the outcome, and in between is the response, and that's exactly where we have to be. And I think everyone on this call right now is really responding to that outcome of having a bigger purpose, and bringing more value to the people they care about, whether it's their clients they're supporting or their teams they're supporting as coaches too.
Dude, so cool. You look back and you wonder where we came from as boys, like, and then you hear like David talk like that, and you're like, who the hell's that guy from like 5 years ago? You know what I mean? That's so amazing to see. Like, if we really embrace this system, if we really utilize the tools that we have, PS, like I'd mentioned, for free, right? You're getting a $199, basically $99 a year subscription to some of the best self-development you can ever get in your life. And I always share this. If for some reason this Optavia decided to disappear, you have such amazing skills that you're developing through this business, right? We're not going anywhere. That's not what I'm saying. Don't panic. But what I'm saying is you create so many skills in this that you could go flourish in any industry, anywhere, and doing things. We have some coaches that their significant others are doing things at newer jobs or doing stuff, and they're flourishing at these newer jobs. Like, I can't believe this is happening and that's happening. It's the stuff they're learning on the sidelines of their partners, of their significant others, right? They're on these boot camps, sometimes creeping in, listening. They're getting takeaways. They're coming to some of the events. They're around the community, and then they're out at their JOBs, and they're really crushing it because of how they approach people, how they treat people, with a servant's heart, with understanding somebody, not just talking at somebody, but talking with somebody, not being interesting, but being interested. So we've talked enough. I appreciate everybody for sharing, Donald, Joy, Dave, Des. But I want to have you guys come on and kind of just share a takeaway. And like I said, don't be nervous. The reason I want to say this, and I'm just going to be open with you guys. I know we're all a small, tight group here. But if you're not comfortable to share here, then who are we going to go talk to that we don't know, right? And that's the importance of why we're doing this. There's little behind the scenes reasons why we want you guys to share. So take that few minutes. Don't take too long because we want a bunch of people to share, but maybe 1 to 2 minutes. What your takeaway was, how you're excited, maybe real quick how you're going to implement it or how you've seen it being implemented. And raise your hand. I'll kind of unmute you because I know if a bunch of you kind of go at the same time, it'd be engaged. But anybody want to go first? Cool. Let's go, Robert, and then we'll go Maria. Go ahead, Robert.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks again for allowing me. The one thing that kept hitting me is being in jewelry sales. This is a big time of the year for us. And everybody talks about money, buying gifts, buying this, buying that, stress. I don't have money for this. I don't have money for that. But I kept thinking, what a perfect Christmas gift to give to yourself, the gift of health. We all know we're going to be eating terribly and this and that, but you know what? You budget for the perfect gift, and it's going to be, you're right, for January, but you get that gift now and you can start on it. So obviously it's all about gifts for us and my business, but at the same time, you're giving yourself the ultimate gift, which will be health. I look at homeless on the streets right now. It's disgusting. If those people were an Optavia, half of them wouldn't be there. So this is a gift for everybody.
Awesome, brother. Thanks for sharing. Maria, you want to go? I don't think it's letting me unmute you. There you go.
For me, a big takeaway have been like the times that I had to work and I couldn't be here because I was teaching a class at 6 a.m. And then I listened to the playback. It doesn't make the same impact than being in person and listening. And when I don't get that connection with all of you, just like everybody's saying, like Joy said, like Ron said, Don said, when I don't get that connection, I don't connect the same way with my clients. So when I connect with you guys and what you're doing and, how excited you are and, your goals and, who you're going to be and play so big, then when I'm alone, I remember those things. I remember, oh my God, Desiree said this and Don said this and David said this, and it plays back. So just being present, in the calls, it makes a major difference throughout the week in who I'm being. So that's my takeaway.
Awesome. Community, man. Community. Love it, Maria. Mark, go for it. Mr. Ranking Up over there. Mark, let me see if I can unmute you.
I think my big takeaway is, what Don said is be in the game every day at least. I work full time as a HVAC guy. It's our busy season right now. And be honest, it was kind of hard to do something every day, but I'm finding that I just make time to do something every day, plant a few seeds at work, plant a few seeds. I'm a big fan of just running into people and sparking up conversations wherever I go, whether it's in a line at the grocery store or, you know, at an amusement park or whatever. I may not, you know, actually have them, you know, join on or anything, but at least I'm out there planting seeds, and I've made my lists and I've made everything. So I've really kind of committed myself to giving that hour a day, every day, no matter what it is, whether I'm getting friends on Facebook, whether I'm sparking up conversations, whether I'm, you know, doing anything. I just came off of 12 no's in a row, which was really disheartening. And I don't know if I'm need to tweak something, but maybe they're not no's yet. You know, I'm so used to, I've been in sales for a long time, and I'm used to like, land it now, land it now, land it now. And this is something so different than that it's amazing. So I just have to be patient and just chug along. So I guess that's my takeaway.
Awesome, brother. Yeah, and it's true. I mean, 1 in 10, you know, work with Donald on where that's at, but it's the 1 in 10 factor. So if you're at 12, it might not really be that far off, but it's just a matter of you know, numbers based on our goals, what we want to do, how many people we want to talk to, and it will definitely start to pick up. And it's never a no, it's just a not right now. I mean, I don't know how many times I've said that. There was a coach the other day. She's like, oh my God, after a year, my sister's going to get on. And she said, never in a million years, don't ever talk to me about this. Don't ever talk to me about program. And then now guess what? Reality kicks in, doctor calls, she got to do something. So unfortunately, some people take that time to figure that out, but it's just massive action, man. We, you know, talking to Beverly the other day, you just up your numbers, and it moves forward. But thanks for your takeaway. Anybody else? Go ahead, Bev.
Am I on? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, exactly. So I ran across my 100th list, the very first one I ever did. And so and I get a lot of no's too. It's really hard for me because I was also in sales. So and I don't understand why people don't want to start the program. You know, it's just one of the, because to me, it's a no-brainer. I was a credit card thrower. So it makes it really hard for me not to talk to people that aren't the same as me, who totally get the program. And so I found my hundreds list, the very first one, and I went through and I marked off every single person that's on program now. And I was amazed. I mean, I can't tell you exactly, but there was probably about 20 people from that first list that told me no that are currently on program. And so I think my biggest takeaway on the trainings is just to, whatever it takes, just be on the trainings. I was a little late today, but I was like, no, I'm getting on, you know. And so just make sure you're consistent on the trainings, because you're always going to hear something. You may hear the same thing consistently, but one time it's going to kick in. But it definitely, like, just planting the seeds and just keeping consistent. I mean, eventually it's going to break through. So, and I refuse to give up. I'm not going to give up. So, and I appreciate all the, I appreciate all the trainings, and that's why I'm always here. So.
Love it. Love it. So true. The proof's in the pudding, man. I'll tell you. Cool. Anybody else have any nuggets they want to share? We got time for 1 or 2 more, and then we're going to Kristen, and then we'll go to Rob.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks. So I think Desiree and Beverly just hit it on the head, that so many times from hearing no and being misunderstood from our community or our friends and family, that we kind of lose hope of, like, well, why isn't anyone doing this? I understand, just like Beverly said, how can somebody not want to do this? And so I think being part of this community and joining the trainings and our team calls is key, and remembering why we're doing this and feeling healthy in your own health is like, okay, I know I feel good, I know this works, and I just have to continue to find the people that believe in this, that I can bring health and hope to as well. So I think being on these trainings is vital to revitalizing us and keeping the fire going within us, and then encouraging others so that we really can change the world and touch people that we see every day that really need us. So thank you all for everything you poured into me that I in turn get to pour into other people.
You're so awesome. I can't wait for you to lead the boot camp next week. I'm just kidding. No, but I think you have a sweet heart, and I think you really understand what we're trying to do here. And I'm excited for everybody, because I'll be honest with you guys. Let's talk serious for a second. This is being recorded, so if a new coach sees it, they're going to be like panic mode. But for you watching the playback, a lot of times people give up on their dreams and goals, even in this business, because those no's get scary. I do my darndest, and it is hard, because kids can be, let's say, let's just use the word brutal, because I can't think of the word I want to use, but brutal with constantly asking for the same thing. And how many times do I try not to say, no, you can't have that. No, stop asking, instead of diverting their attention. And then us as adults, hey, let's go talk to people about health. Oh, somebody's going to tell me no? I'm not going to do that, right? And then you give up on your hopes and dreams. But really just working on yourselves and taking that time to embrace this, look at what's going to happen over the next year. Everybody on here, if you guys stick it out for the next 2 years, your lives will get flipped upside down. I'm not trying to sing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air here, but they will get flipped upside down for the better. They will. Most people 2 to 4 months in, you know what I mean? And it's a challenge. But if you understand, it's never no. Look at if I would have, oh, my Aunt Joy, fourth Thanksgiving coming, she's never going to show up. It's not our time to judge people. It's not our time to wonder when they're going to show up. It's our job to share at a high level. They will show up. A Justin Avini took 7 months. A Jamil Frazier had to hear Becky Flamong say, well, you just gave me $800 in clients, right? Dollar signs for him. What? $800? Well, I'm over here making 6 figures and we're still struggling. So what is that going to look like, right? A Karen Elstrom calling a friend 4 times to then have that friend say, stop trying to get Becky's number. She's not going to be interested in that little thing you're doing. You think Becky's life has changed? All those years of feeding Jamil on the football team and spending the night in slumber parties kind of sure as hell paid off in the long run, if you look at me, right? And then now look at her life, right? If Karen Elstrom would have just been like, wow, that girl's probably right. I don't want to bug Becky about that thing. Look at what Becky's been able to do now. She works where she wants to work. She subs in as a dental hygienist. She loves what she does, right? But she's able to do that out of choice, not out of, well, I'm stuck here at this job at 54, 55. If I can just get to 64, then I can retire early, right? So just remember, these no's are they're not right now. You will know that. But based on our goals, if we have to up the numbers, that's where it really kind of comes into shine. So we got room for one more, and then I want to talk a little bit about the summit and then moving forward. Anybody else want to jump in here? Just keep your eyes on the road, brother. I apologize. We got Robert, and then we got Robert number 2 on the road. Give me 1 sec. Robert, can you unmute yourself? The other Robert? Karen, there you go.
Okay.
Robert Jackson? Yeah. Oh, that Robert.
Yeah, sorry, brother. 1 sec. We'll do you next, and then we'll cut it out. Go ahead, Robert.
I'm going to make this really quick, guys. There's one of my takeaways actually just came up today with Donald and the 3 C's. The consistency, constant, and confidently is really all the difference. But it really amounts to, we treat our health and we treat our business. If we look at it in millimeters instead of miles, it's going to make all the difference in the world. You just kind of envision yourself like standing on one side of the Grand Canyon and looking across the other side. And when we're with our health goals and we're thinking we have a lot of weight to lose, or we're looking at our business goals and we want a big business to grow, it seems like a long ways away over there. But if we stay constant and we do it competently and consistently, and we take this approach 1 millimeter at a time, just like we do with our health, we have that 5 and 1 fueling at a time, and we do our business 1 client, 1 conversation at a time. Those millimeters, when we look back a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, we're going to have amazing success. And just like the person who said they look back at their hundreds of lists, how many people they brought on, just stay focused on the millimeters. Do it every day. Do it consistently. Just do 1 thing at a time. That's my takeaway.
Boom, mic drop. Cool, Robert. Okay, Robert number 2, but keep your eye on the road, brother. You're making me nervous.
Straight ahead, man. I do this every day, all day. This
No,
is
I'm
another
just
job.
messing. I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with
Okay, well, for what I get is the stories from everyone that's been in it a while. It builds my confidence to keep going, because when you get someone to cancel or they won't answer the phone call or something, you know, you hear somebody say, "Don't worry about it. They'll come back later. Maybe it ain't their time right now." So the encouragement you get from the coaches and the other stories, that's a big thing for me. Keeps me confident and encouraged to keep going. Also, what you just said about how the spouses, they're in the background, they're coming here and a little bit here and a little bit there. It just happened just the other day with my wife. You know, she doesn't want to get totally hands-on, but she's always preparing my leading green. She'll make the meat, but I'll put it together. But that's a big help for me doing this business as well. So she's in on that part, and I know she's picking up little things. So the stories that you hear and the experience you get and the knowledge you get from the experience of others, that's a big thing for me.
I love it, man. I love it. Awesome. Awesome. Beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing. I just muted myself. But so cool. So a lot of us have this summit next week. We're going to, it is a qualifying event. Guys, I want you to understand that we're going to have more summits coming up. So prepare. One of the summits is usually in March time, and then next year around November. These are going to start to be cycling trainings. So there's no surprises for these. They are going to be qualifying events, but March and roughly around November time, October, November time, there is going to be trainings twice a year to keep this going. So what I want to say is make sure we're constantly thriving and striving for these things and not just getting to these. Let's make sure that we're in a position to where we're just qualifying just to qualify. One of the most beautiful things I'll tell you real quick, and then I'll talk a little bit more about our next boot camp, is Kim Fisk built this business within about 5 years to really be stabilized. Within about 8 years, she stepped back from building and went on another vision of inspirational speaking, motivational speaking, writing a couple books and doing things. And she still qualifies for the incentive trip without working. She still qualifies for the incentive trip. I want to say that again. She still qualifies for the incentive trip because she built this energy. She built this structure. And one of the things I'll tell you, and she'll tell this story, the first year was not fun. She was not around her kids. She would make dinner and go into the rooms. When her kids were watching movies or going to the movies, she was on the phone. When her kids were doing homework, she was on the phone. When her kids had bedtime, she was on the phone. A lot of us, there's choices we make of doing things. But she peeled the Band-Aid off fast her first year to 3 years. And now she's living the life she could never imagine. So remember that when we take choices of different things and look at things and make sure our families are on the same page and they're okay with that, there is going to be some grind time where you're not going to have any time. I was just sharing with David the other day. Before he showed up to this, I did not leave my house other than to go share this program with people for at least the first year and a half. I did not spend outside source money that I didn't have on fun things to distract me, at least till the first, I think it was like 2.5 years. I was grinding for the first 2 years because I watched what Kim Fisk did. And now you get to a place where this business can be established to where if you decide to take a day off here or there, that's okay. If you decide to not do calls from 9 to midnight, that's okay. But you have to remember, don't try to eat, keep the cake and eat it too, or whatever the saying is. You have to get to a position to where that's okay. So as you're looking at leaders and you're looking at other people, grind first, get to that place, and then you can start looking at what makes sense for you. And work with your mentors on that too, right? Work with your mentors on what time that is. We're not here to tell you what to do, but we kind of have the best experiences. I mean, just saying, we kind of have the best experiences. We've done things that we probably shouldn't do. We've done things and we've learned. It's like telling your kids, don't do that. You're going to get hurt, right? Well, most of us kids have to go get hurt to figure it out first. But if we can cut that short, your positivity in this business, your fun with the game will be a lot different. So that's some stuff I want to say. So we have the summit next week. Another thing too, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. We have a Big Bear event coming up in February, the 4th week of February. It's going to be like a mini Sundance. Qualifications are as follows. FIBC by December, okay? FIBC by December. So that is you acquiring about 17 clients. 17 clients is 6,000 frontline volume. And then you acquiring 5 business partners, not getting, acquiring by sharing. at a high level, 5 business partners that have 5 ordering entities each, and those are senior coaches. So 6,000 frontline volume, 17 clients, and then 5 business partners that each have 5 clients each, 5 ordering entities. That is what we would consider FIBC. Now, what does that mean? Well, the cool part is you're averaging about $2,200 just with the 17 clients, plus you're now having a rolling consistency bonus of $1,000 because your frontline is at about 6,000, a little over 6,000. And then when you get to FIBC, the other fun part is have you ever asked your boss for a raise? And I joke about this, but have you ever said, hey, you know what? I want to get a $1,000 raise. Or I want to get a $4,000 raise a year. So now you have a 6,000 frontline, $1,000 raise. Then when you bring on those 5 business partners and they're creating your rank as an FIBC, that's another $1,000 bonus every 90 days. So I want you guys all to go to your bosses right now and say, hey, I want an $8,000 raise in 1 year, and see what they say. Just kidding. They probably would look at you crazy. But the point is, though, is as you guys get to this rank, think about how your life will change too. Don't just try to get to this rank because I want to go to this event. Look at what that's going to look financially, because maybe that allows you to pay for Instacart and not have to go to the grocery store and allow you a little bit more time with your family or a little bit more time with your business. Maybe you pay a cleaning lady to come clean your house instead of getting distracted because the dishes are in the sink and I can't do any calls until the sink's fixed and whatever else. Or maybe that pays for you to have a nanny come, 2-3 hours a day to be there with you. That's the next step for us. I'm at a point where I need to have somebody at least at the house helping with the kids, not necessarily like so I leave, but I need to have that next step. That's where I'm at because I want to move my business forward. Those 3 hours of business while my kids are being taken care of can be monumental over the next 5 months, right? This is a busy time of the year. So really look at that, what that income represents as you guys get to FIBC when you guys start to come to Big Bear. Well, I don't think I can afford the plane ticket. Well, at FIBC, you can. Well, I don't think I can get the time off because I have nobody to watch my kids. Well, at FIBC, you can pay somebody to come and invest in yourselves a little bit. Well, I don't think I whatever, right? I don't want my boss to fire me. Well, guess what? At FIBC, you're probably going anywhere from $3,800, maybe $4,500, depending on what your front line is at that point, because now you're starting to make decent money. Well, if it ends up happening to a bad thing and you want to have this better vision, maybe that's a kick in the butt to have it. I'm not saying to go quit your job. That's not what I'm saying. But it starts to create options for you guys. So really understand as you're getting to that qualification for the December event, for the February event, the mini Sundance up in Big Bear, California, remember what that represents as you get to FIBC. Because then if you're at FIBC by December, imagine where you can be by the time you actually go to the Big Bear event. $5,000-$6,000 a month. Anybody on here not want to have that extra? Anybody else think that wouldn't help their families or create options for yourselves, more time freedom, right? And then, like I said, coming into March, we're going to have another summit coming up, probably in Arizona again, just to give you guys an idea where it's going to be. And then next November, and then moving forward, these are going to be events to be prepared for. So kind of rocks in your calendar if we're going to move this forward. Second thing was real quick, and then Donald will let you talk because we're running over, and I appreciate you guys staying on. But we're going to start a new boot camp. So for this group, we're going to move a boot camp forward. We're going to skip next week. We're all going to be in the summit. But coming back, I think what we say, Robert, it was like the 16th. The 16th, we're going to move it to 7 a.m. 7 a.m. And we're going to start a boot camp moving from here into FIBC and also into more of a leadership role of what does this look like as we start to build a team. It's not any more I's, it's we's. What does that look like when we show up? Go ahead, Donald.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in and say, Justin's talking about FIBC, and it seems like this big, far off goal for some of you maybe. But the way to get to FIBC is to go back to those 3 C's and that consistently and constantly, because in order to get to FIBC, you have to bring on a business partners because you got to get about 12 coaches to get those 5 to senior coach. In order to get those 12 coaches, you have to talk to a lot of people. Maybe you have to approach 100 people in the next month to bring on 10 business coaches in the next couple months. So it's a numbers game. Like Mark said, he collected 12 no's recently. Go out there and collect a bunch of no's. One of our top leaders in this organization, Dan and Megan Valentine, he'll tell you he hit integrated presidential in 15 months And the way he did it is he just collected a lot more no's than anybody else. He talked to 4,000 people in 15 months, and they went integrated presidential. So you can do it, but it's just that consistency and talking to a lot of people. You have to talk to a lot of people to bring on a lot of business partners. You got to bring on a lot of business partners in order to get to that place where you have that freedom financially and the time freedom that we're all looking for. And that's how you're going to create it. So go out there and talk to a lot of people.
Love it, guys. Well, let's have a great week. Let's stay motivated. We'll see you guys back here, I think, on the 16th of November. Write that down, the 16th of November. Let's all show up. Really proud of you guys, too, by the way. I know we got a couple that their videos are off, but I appreciate you guys showing up. I really want to create that cadence. If we're in a good place where we can show up and see each other's faces, whether your makeup on or your eyelashes aren't done or whatever it looks like. My hair's half decent. But the point is, though, is I want us to start to create this energy, because as we go out into the world and we share with people, if we're really worried about what people think, we're not going to talk to them. So there's hidden lines of why we do this. And I want to explain that more than just kind of having you guys do actions with really not understanding why there's actions behind it. When we ask coaches, what's your story? We're not just asking you to share your story just to hear your story. It's a practice, right? So we're going to learn these things as we go into the November 16th. We have some of the top leaders in here going to share with you guys on our team really how to mentor somebody, how to support somebody as a coach, but then also get into action yourself as you start to build a team. And what does that look like? So one last thing, we will start another boot camp just like this one for your new coaches. Part of our second boot camp for you guys is how do we make sure that those coaches get on that want to grow, and how are they aware of it? Because like I said, it's not an I, it's a we now. So you guys have a great weekend. Be safe. Some of you guys will see you out at the summit, and miss you other guys. We'll definitely have to get something going for us locals. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.